Welcome back to Watch More Football. This is the 22nd episode, not necessarily 22nd in terms of weeks that we've covered the Premier League, but we've been covering quite a lot of Premier League weeks now, and we're getting close to the end of the season. You're watching us on Genreverse Sports, so please, if you can, give us a like and a subscribe. It's a brand new channel, and there will be some more sports content coming on there soon, especially if like things other than soccer, aka football. You can also check out, while you're on there, the main Genreverse YouTube channel, which is entertainment, news, reactions, reviews, these kind of things, news. And you'll also find similar content to that on lrmonline.com. If you prefer written news, entertainment, reviews, and you'll find myself, Cam Clark, writing some of the stories on there as well. So I'm back, as always, with Dave, Ryan and Mick. It's a bit of a stranger weekend this weekend in terms of football, because we had two cup games on as well, and that kind of disrupted the fixture a little bit. So some teams, for example, myself and Mick's beloved Newcastle United, got a week off this week, so we really anything to kind of discuss from our team's point of view, but there's plenty to discuss.
At least you managed to enjoy your weekend.
Yeah,
might be a short episode tonight.
Not as much as I do when we win, but certainly it's been better than when we get beat. I'll say that for sure.
Although you guys have been on a good run.
We'll start off. I mean, a little bit, a couple of games, but that's all it takes these days to be in a good run, is just a couple of games. Do you know what I mean? Because unless you're one of the top three teams, anybody else, a couple of games is great. After that, it's a couple of bad ones, and you're on the way back down again, as we all know, for all our inconsistent teams this season. Talking about which, the two of you guys teams had a cup final to play cup semi-final to play this weekend.
Can we Chelsea still do the third place playoff? Because I just think it would be fun.
I'm not sure
they could do that. I mean, they could just arrange a behind closed doors games just to see what would happen.
As long as it's not 4-3.
Yeah, I keep having to remind
it would be something like that.
Yourselves? No, thanks.
I would watch that before the
final. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But there you go. But that's because Man City are probably going to win it anyway. But what I don't think any of us were surprised that City get through against your team Chelsea, Dave. But looking back after you watched a bit of the game or some of it, I think you remember.
No,
you had your chances to win it, didn't you?
Anything. I was
you
watching my nephews.
No. Did you watch the highlights?
Play. Yeah, I watched the highlights. Yeah. I just saw Grealish's deflect a shot on goal. That's what I saw. But the refs didn't see it, so what does it matter?
Well,
he's very unlucky.
That's maybe a common theme this week when we're talking about referees, to be fair. I mean, you were quite wasteful in terms of the chances that you had. Anyway, Chelsea had a lot of chances to score. And
story of our seasons. Yeah, we're very wasteful with our chances. We can create lots of chances, but it's just putting them away is another thing.
Yeah, Jackson was terrible.
Most of them fell, obviously.
Jackson was terrible at finishing.
I was going to say Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah,
he does everything else great.
But that's his job. His job's to put the ball in the back of the net, and he just.
Exactly, yeah.
That one-on-one he had. He was one-on-one with the keeper.
To be fair, Chelsea have been doing this for years. Because, what do you call him that's now with Spurs? What's his name? I forget.
Werner.
Werner was exactly the same. He does everything amazing until he gets in front of the goal, and then he just can't put it in the back of the net. That's the one.
And that was a guy who had a great
Jackson feels like that a little bit.
Bundesliga.
Yeah.
But again, Werner wasn't an out-and-out striker. Jackson isn't really an out-and-out striker.
No, probably not.
Who is nowadays, though?
It's a great question.
Haaland and Osimhen, and that's about it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Harry
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kane's not your It's not your typical.
He's supposed to be, but then you'll see him. He'll be sitting in the middle of the halfway line.
He's on the halfway line as often as he's on the box.
But most of the time, you'd rather he was just sat playing the ball in the back of the net sometimes, Kane. But yeah, he's definitely capable of going more. I don't know. Is Jackson get any kind of future at Chelsea? Is he good enough at this level? Does he take enough chances at this level?
He's what, 21?
To really be a quality player?
21, and he's shown brilliance elsewhere on the pitch. I compare him to Nunes. Him and Nunes are exactly the same.
Couldn't hit the barn door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nunes has missed more clear chances than Jackson has, and he's only scored one more goal, I think. But they both do everything else great, but it's just putting the ball in the back of the net. So Jackson might be better off in like a Salah role where he plays out a bit slightly more wide than just being, centre of everything.
But the thing is, Salah scores goals from everywhere, but he doesn't really create them. Whereas Jackson, you can't see Jackson just picking up the ball on the edge of the box and smashing it in like Salah does.
I mean, ultimately, you can be a great player. You can be a great player, but if there's just one bit of your game that's missing, it can prevent you from at the very highest level.
Yeah.
For me, like Werner, he'll never be at the very highest level because he's just not a clinical finisher. And I think at that age, at 21, you would know who's a natural finisher and who's not, and any striker would be able to tell you Jackson's not a natural finisher.
Yeah, but he scored lots last year. I know it was Portuguese.
Isaac.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Salah just a minute ago, and look what he was like before, he went to Liverpool.
It's a bit of a hot take, but I still don't think Salah is that impressive a player to watch, but he just scores goals no matter what he does. I don't think he's not as skilled as a lot of other right wingers that he's talked about with, but he knows how to score a goal, which is half the battle. But Jackson, if you were to get like an Ivan Toney to lead the line next season, and you had Jackson coming off the bench causing chaos, that could be a bit of a goal.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what it would be like if Nkunku was back, to see how those two linked up, and maybe Nkunku.
They did well in pre-season.
He's not. No, he's not. But he is a bit more clinical, so he could be putting away the chances.
Yeah.
But
they linked up well in pre-season, didn't they? Nkunku and Jackson.
Yeah, they did really well. Yeah, they did very well in pre-season together. Yeah. Well, that's what Jackson's great with, linking up with other players. He's brilliant. It's just the finishing.
Kind of need it in a forward player, though. They've got to be able to take.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it was ever the intention for him to be our starting striker every single game this season. I'm not sure what the plans were.
But Nkunku that you went and bought, and I know he's
but you know what Chelsea
not really
are like.
Central striker either.
He's not either, no. But Chelsea just buy players and they just force them into positions.
He's a good finisher.
But also they buy strikers and then they strip them on all of their finishing ability. And
yes.
I mean, that has happened. I mean, Shevchenko, Torres, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, Drogba and Costa are the only two.
Giroud was all right for us.
Yeah. Even with Drogba, we all remember Drogba as being absolutely brilliant. I was watching a quiz show the other day, and it was a question about the top 25 scorers in the Premier League, and Drogba wasn't on that list anyway.
No, big game player, but he brought other players into the game. That was his speciality.
He could finish chances, but you weren't a high-scoring team. So playing with him, it was it was the defensive
scoring 20 goals a season, so the whole team was chipping in.
Yeah, exactly. And Drogba was supporting ones. Like you look at the Champions League, I think it was the semi-final where, or was it the final when he scored the header?
Against Munich.
To Man United, or something like that.
Anyway,
still getting outscored by
Before
Lampard.
we move other cup final, I should point out our prediction scores updates because I forgot that completely.
Do we have to
do that? We do, because Ryan, you only get 3 points this week again. I got
back to form.
I get 6, Mick get 5, and you get 7.
I was going to say that I still only came like second bottom last week, didn't I?
I think Kyle lost.
Yeah,
I think Kyle got
I totally lost. I owe you guys points.
I'll have them.
I'd love to see Kyle get involved with the predictions and see just how bad we are if he beats us.
I wanted to use
if he actually beats us, we having zero knowledge and just randomly picks.
I wanted to use you guys' stuff to make bets, but I just haven't gotten around to doing that. And from the looks of it, I really shouldn't.
Look at the points.
I do think from next season, Kyle needs to get involved though.
Yeah, Kyle, just don't look at Ryan's predictions.
Yeah.
See the opposite. Wait till Ryan's puts predictions in.
We used to play this game. It was a little bit different, but we used to play this game online when we should have been working when we were younger, many moons ago, which is how we all met actually.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 points for a correct score and blah blah blah. And Ryan, I do believe that you were always one of the lowest finishers every single season.
I was focusing all my brain power on managing the spreadsheet and keeping track of the scores.
That's the worst thing about it is you were keeping track of the scores, but yet you still found yourself at the bottom.
Well, integrity.
Anyway, just pointing at me and Mick, both 1-1. Anyway, moving on. The predictions, obviously. I think we probably predicted the way these 2 cup final games went. The other one was your team, and we've got a thumbnail image of you today, Ryan, looking very old and worn and tired. Yet your team went through. You won. You're in the final. So
it's the most ridiculous feeling that 17 minutes in, we were 3-0 up, and I thought, do you know what? This is a proper performance. Coventry was still sort of getting at us, but Keith won them at arm's length, and then it just all fell to shit.
I switched on the TV.
Yeah.
Well done, Dave.
And I just thought Coventry were the best team in the whole game, but that's because I watched it from the 70th minute.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they kept trying, and they were exploiting weaknesses. Obviously, the first goal that gave them a bit of a sniff of hope. That was a good goal. The other 2 were poor. In that, the second was a deflection.
Wicked.
It was nothing we could do, but we should have closed him down before he got the shot off. And another mistake from Wan-Bissaka conceding the late penalty. He's not having a good time down the left, but then we haven't really got any other options. But yeah, I just sort of, I'm in the acceptance part of my grief, I've got to say, for this season. So as soon as it went 3-2, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So this is happening. As soon as Onana got booked for time wasting, I'm like, yeah, this is going to go to penalties, and he's going to get a booking like Martinez did. And when the Coventry winner got chalked off for offside, I was just like, oh well, that's shit, isn't it? And I just didn't really even feel anything in the penalty shootout, and it's just a very.
Especially as Cass missed the first one.
By that point.
It's. I don't know. We were always sort of on a hiding to nothing in that game anyway, because we either beat Coventry comfortably, and it's great, cool. You've beaten a championship side. You found your level. Well done, lads.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get embarrassed like we did yesterday. Or even if we'd gone out, it wouldn't have been as bad. But we've been thoroughly embarrassed. But now. We've got nothing really to play for in the league, and we've got a cup final against City.
It's like the game of shame.
In a month's time, where we're going to get absolutely battered. And I sort of wish we had just gone out, because I think that could have been the point. Not that I'm still not hounding Erik ten Hag out of his job, but I think if we had lost, we could have got rid of Erik ten Hag. And the rest of the season might have been enjoyable, because Darren Fletcher's just recently had his job taken over by Jason Wilcox, but he's been doing a lot of coaching. So we could have had him interim till the end of the season, bringing all the academy lads through, not giving a fuck, and, having some enjoyable times for the next month or so. But now we're just going to grind our way to a cup final that we're not going to be remotely competitive in, and it's just shit.
I don't want Erik ten Hag out. I think he should get an 8-year contract.
Yeah, I think he should stay.
Yeah, well.
I
agree.
I think there's been. I've been saying obviously all this time there's been mitigating factors for him this season, but you can't be 3-0 up 70 minutes into a cup semi-final against a championship side and have it go to penalties. It's just it's unforgivable.
It's the first time I've seen such a fan base so dejected of going through to the final of a FA Cup.
Yeah. Because it doesn't feel like a win. Like we've scraped our way through, and really there's not much reward on the other side of it. We might nick a win against City, but it's very slim, and it's going to be the most grim game imaginable if we do.
You could see the players felt the same as well. Like even after the win, they weren't running around celebrate. Apart from
Anthony, what a prick!
Freaking
I mean, I can
Hoyland, what a knob.
Hoyland scoring the winning penalty, he's got every right to wheel away like he did. That's fine. Anthony, I don't know what he was doing. But the rest of the players were like, no, we fucked up here.
The thing is, Anthony came on when you were 3-0 up, didn't he?
Yeah.
We took Garnacho. Maguire.
Maguire was great. Yeah,
Maguire had a good game. We took Garnacho and Mino off, so an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old. Took them off at 3-0, and we put in a winger who supposedly got defensive qualities in Anthony, and we put through a 32-year-old midfielder, and we should be able to hold the game from there. Like, Christian Eriksen should be able to.
And he's supposed to have defensive qualities.
Well, yeah, he tracks back.
But he's supposed to be worth 80 million.
But that's not for his tracking back ability, though. To be fair, Mick, that was what he's
that's for his Champions League medals.
But that's for that
thing is,
spin he does round.
You get the likes of Maguire and Eriksen and players like that going over and straight away as soon as the ball hit the net, going over at the commentary players, shaking the hands, consoling them, and then you get
because they know they got away with
Anthony.
One.
Yeah, but you get that little rat Anthony turning around, cutting his ears at them, running backwards. Well, shit, freaking fell over and broke his leg or something.
Yeah. I mean, even the United fans who left when the fourth goal went in and then tried to get back in after they heard it got chalked off. Like, what's the point? You're not going to, even if we go on to win that match, you're not going to fucking enjoy it, are you? What's the point of fighting your way back in? Like anyone genuinely going, "Worry, we got through to the final," is just. I don't know. They're just.
Nah. I found that video hilarious. All the fans outside the stadium
has a habit of picking up trophies sometimes that no one can explain how they managed to get into.
I mean, what I would say is obviously for all the issues that Ten Hag has, he's got us to 3 cup finals in 2 seasons, which is a very that in itself is very good.
I would argue that the reason that has happened is because you have had the best draws.
We've had decent draws.
I mean, you've been getting lower team leagues, teams at home so often.
We've had
any big games being at home. I mean,
we've had good draws, but we've gone out. We've gone out to the likes of Middlesbrough in the past in the cup.
I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying it's less likely to happen. You've not had any Liverpool cities, I know you Liverpool obviously in the FA Cup, but
so before Ten Hag came in,
deserved to go through.
Before Ten Hag came in, we had one Europa League final in 2019. We had the League Cup in the Europa League in 2017 when Jose was in charge, and then we had the FA Cup in 2016, and I think we had one more FA Cup final against Chelsea. And that's over like a 10-year period, and then we've had 3 cup finals in 2 seasons. So that in itself is good, but obviously we need to marry that up with there's so many games where we've thrown away winning positions really late on, and if we won some of those games, such as in the Champions League, such as the Brentford and Chelsea games, the season would look a lot better considering the injuries we've had. But it's just systemically.
Didn't you have 21 home games or something?
Well, yeah,
in the cups. 21 in a row.
But compared to how we performed in the cups previously, it's an improvement.
You had 21 home games in a row in the cups. That's disgusting.
It's not disgusting. I mean, nobody's trying to say it's a sham in some way.
Mick Clattenburg going to be writing in the Daily Mail in a minute.
Yes, it's lucky.
I didn't want to say that.
It's very lucky. I'll give you that.
Disgrace.
Anyway, so we're still, the saga of Ryan's mood changing to week rumbles on for.
Is everyone in the same boat?
You're due an uptick. Sheffield United and Burnley next 2 games, and I noticed that you predicted that you'll get beaten in both, which is actually impressive.
Is that acceptance? Is it?
I will. No, that's acceptance, but it's acceptance for something else. I'll come on to that when we talk about predictions later.
But can I just get back to this? The Coventry goal, for me, shouldn't have been disallowed. There was no
fuck off,
advantage.
It was offside.
You know that it shouldn't have, man. You even admitted it. You admitted it that it shouldn't have been disallowed.
I think spiritually, it shows a flaw in the rules, but you can't say he's not ahead of Wan-Bissaka there. You just can't.
Look at the line. Look at the line.
Yeah, and the line is quick. Just because they've drawn, just because they've drawn the line big enough for the TV pictures that people watching the TV can actually see it. Doesn't mean that it's inaccurate.
What I will say is,
toes like that.
I'm not so sure if it had been given the other way, whether they would
have been allowed. Look at the Rashford
I think they would have found a way. I'm just saying, I think they would have found a way, or they would have analysed it for another 20 minutes longer. Somebody would.
Well, put it this way: there's the easy narrative that United had been rescued by VAR, but if United had scored that goal and it had been chalked off, no one would give a shit.
I would have said the same thing. It shouldn't have been disallowed because there's no. Yes, I would have, because there is no advantage.
No, I get that, but
literally that's an issue. Advantage.
No, but that's not.
That's an issue with the rule, Mick. That's an issue with the rule. That's nothing to do with the lines and how offside he was. He was quite clearly, and you could see it even before they.
It shouldn't have been disallowed because of the rule.
What you're saying is the rule shouldn't be how it is.
No, it shouldn't.
But you could quite clearly see. Just going off the first replay, never mind the lines, that like the width of his foot is ahead of Wan-Bissaka. Like he's clearly offside. Whether it's enough to chalk, whether he gets enough advantage of that or any advantage, he's only that close to being offside because Wan-Bissaka's positioning.
That image that I put into that group chat, because obviously I was putting the kids in the bath at the time. That did not show a width of his foot. That showed like a thread of his boot.
I think
your
Littland's been splashing your screen.
Perfect angle that you had while you were putting the kids in the bath to review at the time. Mick, they had to go by the live footage that they had in the millions of dollars.
I absolutely agree that the offside rule should. I absolutely agree that the offside rule should be changed, and that there needs to be an entire body worth of different. And I've seen arguments to say, well, you're still going to be measuring it at the end by like millimeters, but by the time you get to those millimeters, the attacking player is going to be near enough a foot offside, and there's clearly an advantage. I agree that spiritually, him being that few inches offside is not going to make a difference. Is not going to make a difference to how that goal's scored, but you can't say that he's not in an offside position. I'm sorry.
It would be a big change, but I wouldn't mind them trying.
There should be daylight between the attacker and the defender for an offside goal.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but as you say, that would be a huge change that we've never really seen in the history of football before, to be honest. So, in the modern game, shall we say? So, see how it works. If we end up getting
he's onside,
but then they'll probably strip it back again. Anyway, shall we move on?
I was as gutted as anyone when that got chalked off, to be honest, because we deserved to lose that game. And like I said, the vibes for the rest of the season would have been potentially a lot cooler. But now it's just going to be grim until the end of the season. I'm going to be miserable.
Well, at least we'll get that exciting game to watch in the FA Cup final. I'm sure we'll all be tuned into that. Really excited to see that one. Not. So moving on to the Premier League, Liverpool won, Arsenal won, so Villa won. There was nothing much really worth writing home about.
It was the relegation battles really this week, but worth talking.
That's what I was going to say. The relegation battles are the ones to talk about this week, and probably the biggest game to talk about has to be Everton versus Forest, who played each other, and probably most because of some other stuff that happened during the game and then after the game as well. So we'll talk about that one. So wins 2-0. Have you all seen the penalty incidents? Because we might as well get straight on it. There was 3 penalty incidents, and Nottingham Forest not happy about them. You've not seen any of them yet, Dave? No.
No, I haven't had a chance.
Go on Nottingham Forest Twitter and see for yourself.
Twitter?
I don't know if it's actually on
X.
like the actual highlights are on their Twitter. I don't know if I get that. It's just the
no. But all you need to know is what Forest think about them.
Not just go into Nottingham Forest's website and they'll just have it all there with a description of why it's wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe. I have to say that all 3 potential penalty decisions could have been given as a penalty, and I think I'm not excusing what they did because we'll get to the statement they made in a minute. But I actually think if they had just treated it like a normal moan about the refs, then they would really have quite a valid point this week looking at the game, because looking at all 3 penalties, you could have made an argument, and I would make an argument, and I'm not just going to point to Man United. I would say if any of the 3 of them, if it had been a Man U, a Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, any of that big, I think they would have potentially given all 3 of them, especially the first one. I don't think almost a penalty. Like, I think he does dive a little bit after he feels contact.
Mick compared it to the Gordon one, didn't he? I think
the first one was similar.
It's more of a penalty than the Gordon one, because I think Young is 100% aware that the Forest player is there.
It's 100% more than a penalty than that, definitely.
The handball.
That's what I mean.
The handball. The whole silhouette rule is an absolute nonsense, because you end up giving handballs that are blatantly not, and you end up not giving ones that should be. Young's balancing his arm as he's coming in. That's fine, but you can clearly see he moves it towards the ball as it comes in, and all the time you're looking at the silhouette, you never look at the actual action. It's absolutely a handball. He moves his hand towards the ball. He blocks it. It's a handball.
Yeah. I think it was clearer cut than the one that we talked about last week. That remember we were talking about the I can't remember which team it was, but the guy turned around and it just touched his arm. Yeah, I thought that was a much harsher handball than this one. For example.
And then the third one is the worst.
I can see why the second one wasn't given. It's like I was watching the ref watch with Dermot Gallagher and Stephen Warnock. It's like how Stephen Warnock describes it. If you're running, you can't really run with your arms behind your back, can you? You just run a good 10 yards. And then you've got to put your leg up. You kind of get your leg up to block with your arm down by your side. So your arm, it's a natural thing that your arm comes up when your leg comes up.
His arm's out there, but you see...
His arm doesn't go up here, does it?
No, but the ball's coming here and he moves his arm towards it.
Does he? He goes like that with his leg and his arm comes up, but I wouldn't have queried if it had been given. Or not. I'm like on a 50-50 with that.
I think it should look as if it's deliberate. I think they should have to look as if they've moved their hand towards the ball.
I'm just reviewing the footage now.
I've sent all 3, Dave. I've sent all 3.
Good process.
We'll see how quick referee Dave takes to
the third one. The third one's an absolute storm.
That's a handball. Yeah, he's got his arms by his side. It's a handball. Let's see one. Yeah, it's a handball. Yeah.
The third one's an absolute stonewall penalty.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to say. Watch the third one, Dave, now, because that one is absolutely the most nailed on of all 3. In fact, the referee kind of points to say, like, the defender get the ball.
Yeah,
that's why he checks that and sees the defender doesn't get the ball. How can they not ask him to go and review that on the
field? 100%, because he makes the ball gesture, doesn't he? To say he's got the ball. That's where VAR need to say, You need to
I
have
can
a
see
look
why
because he
the ref
didn't.
made the mistake.
No, he hit a foot of the player in front of him.
Yeah.
No, that's the first one. I think.
Is it?
No.
Yeah. No, so the third one, the one we're saying is the stone wall one, that's the one on the edge of the box. Is the both.
The third one is the one where he's through on goal, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. He kicks the back of his foot as he's trying to shoot.
Yeah, exactly. He's nowhere near it.
Yeah. That's a disgrace, as Drogba would say.
As Arteta would say. Feels sick.
It's embarrassing.
It's a disgrace.
I would say. It is a disgrace. It is embarrassing.
Yeah, I think Forest have reason to be.
Yeah, they have reason to be pissed off. They do have reason to be pissed off. What they did was, and if producer Kel, if you could bring up, we'll talk about the tweets that Nottingham Forest put out. The first one especially, they're moaning about the decisions, but you've all seen them on our chat and stuff like that, and Kel will bring them up on the screen for anybody that's watching online. But the point is that they're making a big bee in their bonnet about the fact that the referee that was running the VAR was a Luton, or is known to be a Luton supporter, and we've been talking about this on the chat as well. Why they keep going on about this, or why it makes a difference that this guy was a Luton supporter. Now, the argument they're trying to make is that Luton are the team that are below them in the league at the moment, so that they would want Forest to lose that game. But we have all talked about this today. That doesn't make any sense, because actually the best possible result for Luton, based on where everybody was at that time, was a draw. Probably it didn't really suit them to see Everton getting.
I wouldn't necessarily say a draw. I think Nottingham Forest are going to be easily caught.
And a Forest loss kept him within 3 points, which is the big thing. If fine. If it's a draw, there's two teams to chase, but you still got to get basically 2
Or
points.
if Forest beats Everton, it's just the same.
Yeah.
It's just the same distance.
So the interesting thing is that they, in both of their statements that they put out, have said that they tried to get this mystery rogue Luton fan off of VAR, but were ignored. But what's actually come out is that Mark Clattenburg, in his stupid referee liaison job, basically raised the point and said that Nuno, the manager, might be mentioning it in his press conference, but they never made any formal requests for the VAR guy to be removed. And actually, Nuno didn't even have a moan about it in his press conference beforehand anyway. So they've raised it to preempt, and then you've got these 3 decisions, and they've used it as an excuse to make a song and dance. When actually they were absolutely shit all game. Like the closing down for the 2 Everton goals was non-existent. I can't remember a single chance they had all game. They just
that's because Everton kept fouling them in the box, right?
Clearly, they didn't
kept stopping it with their hands and everything.
They didn't deserve to win that game at all. And what makes me laugh as well is the second statement that they put out today is they said, they raised concerns about the fan allegiance of this particular referee out of fear for the sideshow that would ensue, and now the correctness of 3 decisions against us has been pointed out. Well, first they created the sideshow from their Twitter statement or X statement or whatever you want to call it statement.
Yep.
Yeah. They doubled down on that by getting Mark Clattenburg to write a column in the Daily Mail going Nottingham Forest have been hard done by, completely pretending that he's not employed by Nottingham Forest. And then they're also the ones mainly banging the drum that the decisions were incorrect in the first place anyway. It's not they've been naturally magically called into question or anything. It's Forest have said we're unhappy with those 3 decisions, and they're acting like this situation is just happening to them rather than being the driving force.
But they've definitely took it too far in terms of kind of a moan about the decisions, and I think they would have had a lot of people backing them up, and they maybe got one of those famous apologies for the PGMOL if they just went down the normal routes. But that's as much as ever going to happen with a bad decision, is that you get an apology and you move on anyway. So there's nothing you can do about it. So raising this whole thing about the referee and then having Sky Sports talking about how they assign referees based on which team. It's going to end up where they're going to have to bring referees in from Spain just to make sure they've not got any allegiances with any football teams. It's ridiculous.
I mean, they're the most corrupt referees going.
Corrupt, incompetent. Yeah.
The thing is, all the time that you've got clubs basically on a weekly basis questioning the integrity of referees and thinking that match fixing to that extent goes on at all, you completely undermine the integrity of the competition. The only way it's going to get solved is if the clubs actively work with the referees, mutually agree a guidance on how the rules are going to be interpreted, and then take it on the chin when those guidelines are followed.
They need to get them all to agree that they're not going to have any more of these statements, that if they want to do something like this, it's to be done in private. If they want to have a moan at the referees,
but they do this at the start of every year, is they have consultations with the refs, and the refs say, this is how we're going to treat these incidents, and the clubs will go, brilliant, and then they go back and tell their players, and then the minute it goes wrong for them, they go, these calls are ridiculous. Nobody gives a shit about improving the standard of refereeing. Forest and Clattenburg wouldn't be doing that if Everton had been denied three penalties. They only care. They only want
against them.
Yeah, they only want decisions to go their own way.
We agree with them.
And this is what I said back on the first podcast about Arteta.
Everton were moaning about the Premier League, but he
was moaning about the Premier League, being the best league in the world, but not having the best refs. But he didn't give a shit that Havertz got away with a red card in that game.
No,
nobody cares about referees improving and the standards improving and everyone being happy as Larry. They just care about getting their own way, and until they move past that and start collaborating, it's never going to change. And just slinging shit at the weekend every time something goes wrong, like Wolves, for example. Wolves have had a load of really bad calls this season, and Gary O'Neill's come out and moaned about it every week. So now instinctively,
4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no, it's all season. But instinctively, as soon as Arsenal scored their first goal, they're moaning about a foul from Jesus when it's like he's just going for a header and he happens to touch the Wolves player. But they're thinking, they've been hard done by and they're looking for a foul because they have it in their heads that the refs have it out for them. It's just stupid. Just get on with it.
Victim complex.
And we go back to that Arsenal-Newcastle game earlier this season. Another club who released a stupid statement, which was then proved wrong because everybody said that the goal should have stood. Pretty much it was all reviewed, everything like that. But no, Arsenal had to release a public statement. They need to stop clubs doing this. I think, for me, it undermines the referees far too much when they put out these statements.
They need to, if they're genuinely interested, they're genuinely interested in refereeing getting better, they need to approach it from a collaborative rather than an accusatory stance. I've sort of got into arguments with people online about this. At work, I deal with people who feel they've been hard done by on a daily basis, and I quite often help them get over the situation, but I don't help them by going in guns blazing, writing a shitty letter to the people doing it, saying you've done this, that, or the other. I go, we've noticed that this, and this has gone wrong. What do you reckon? And then we come to a solution, and they go, fair enough.
You're used to dealing with things at the lowest level, Ryan, which is when you need to be able to do things in a certain way to get them done. These people that run football clubs are used to behaving in the big millionaire clubs.
I deal with things that actually make a difference, not kicking a fucking football around as well. But,
absolutely. But, that's not. It doesn't. For these people, they're used to getting everything that they want. And the question we've got to ask as well is, why do Forest have Mark Clattenburg employed anyway? What's the point? Is this him? Is this Clattenburg just trying to prove justify his own position by releasing a statement? What's his job even anyway?
It wasn't a referee. He didn't. The issue with Clattenburg is he didn't. The issue with Clattenburg is he didn't release a statement. He wrote a column as an ex-referee saying this situation is bad, even though he's got a clear vested interest. That's the issue with it, is because he
must have advised them to release the statement in the first place if he's the referee consultant.
But can you imagine,
or whatever the hell?
Because obviously Forest are the only club that do this. Forest are the only club that have got this referee liaison position. Can you imagine if all 20 clubs had this, and every weekend we'd have 20 fucking columns in all the newspapers going, this decision was shit? It's ridiculous.
Clattenburg's earning a wage for nothing. He is absolutely taking. The Nottingham Forest fans should be demanding that he is sacked, because it's a waste of money that the club is using.
He gets enough danger money on Gladiators anyway.
And no one else has. And he's got plenty of money. He's working TV.
Gary Neville's been saying that he should have resigned.
Yeah.
Gary Neville said he should be resigning because
they should sack him.
Gary Neville said he should resign because of basically this statement that Nottingham Forest put out undermines his kind of reputation, his the liaison that he's having with referees.
Yeah,
it undermines his respect and reputation with them referees, because he's basically taking a wage from this club and not saying anything about it. So Gary Neville said he should resign.
Yeah.
And
it's just money.
The Daily Mail column is a clear conflict of interest. I just don't understand how. I mean, I can understand why the Daily Mail let it go, because it's the Daily Mail.
But getting back to saying that Stuart Atwell should have been.
He works for the Daily Mail, works for Gladiators, and then he works for Forest as well. This guy's a referee. Why? Where did he be? Where's the fame?
He's never had any self-respect, Clattenburg, has he, though?
He's an absolute wank of a guy, honestly. Is he a Geordie? He looks
he's from Durham.
And he can't say the word.
He supports Newcastle.
He supports Newcastle.
He's a referee and he can't say the word.
Why he likes wearing that black and white top.
But getting back to that, where they're saying that Stuart Atwell should have been removed because he supports Luton. But I was watching Sky Sports News, and they did say that there's about 80 referees and officials
from Manchester area
that can be used on a game basis, like on the weekends, where they need 6 in each game. So that leaves a spare 20, which could be rested, or there could be basically drop down a league because of bad decisions or whatever. Then you've got to take into account where they're all from, who they all support. So it's kind of like a complex situation for the PGMOL to say, well,
you
hang on a minute, because you support Luton, you can't go and referee Burnley's game. You can't do that.
If you start having clubs dictating what refs are going to ref their matches, it's just going to be carnage, and we're just not going to have any games.
You can't do it.
But also, the very fact that we've got 6 officials on a game should mean there shouldn't be that abuse of power anyway, because there's the checks and balances there anyway.
You've got a referee, 2 linesmen, a 4th official, and 2 VAR.
Yeah. And if you're telling me one of those has got a vested in, if you're telling me 1 out of those 6 has got a vested interest in a particular result, and that's going to sway the whole thing, it's absolute nonsense.
You know what I mean?
It's absolute nonsense.
I'm a Luton fan. I want Everton to win the day, so all you better referee the game the way I want.
Do you not just put them as a
all 20 quid.
All right, it's a fair cop. I don't fucking like Forest anyway.
What was that, Dave?
Yeah, I would take 20
official.
quid till ever.
Yeah,
somebody who can have no impact on the game, really.
Have the manager sent off.
No, I don't know.
He's just told me to fuck off.
Hale says we should solve this by drones feeding the footage to an AI program that makes all the calls.
I mean, I think the 4th official could affect it, because you got your Luton fan 4th official, and Nuno wants to bring his game-changing sub on, and all of a sudden, oh no, the board stopped working. We can't bring your sub on, Nuno. Sorry, mate. Anyway, enough about them. But big story. So. Talking about it. The next thing we were going to talk about this week, I guess, was I guess we should mention the fact that both Burnley and Sheffield United Burnley beat
Sheffield United, yeah.
And Brentford battered Luton.
Sheffield United. But the question I would ask is, does it matter because you can't play Sheffield United every week? It's great that they beat Sheffield United, but
I don't know.
I
think Burnley have been playing better in recent weeks. They've got us next week, and I know you're saying it's at Old Trafford, But I mean, I know my prediction says Burnley are going to win, but I mean, really, would you put it past them? Given
no, I wouldn't put it past.
As long as they,
I can't say that. We drew against them.
If they can find a keeper who doesn't kick the ball into his own net, they might have
Yeah, well, that might be a challenge.
That sort of thing's catching because Dean Henderson did it for Palace.
He did,
And Blackburn's keeper had a similar one.
Yeah, Blackburn. Yeah.
So moving on to European fixtures.
Can I do one more thing on the Premier League? Palace absolutely battering West Ham.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And how good is watching Palace for like the 5 games a season where they've got Eze and Elise both fit at the same time?
Oh no, it's amazing. They are so good.
They are the best team in the world when those two are fit, but it only happens only happens when Mercury's in retrograde.
So can I just ask, did one of them get injured at the weekend?
They're both fit together.
I would assume so. But...
I hope so, because they got us on Wednesday and they're going to get better.
I don't know. It'll just be like the thing. They haven't been able to beat anybody all season, but we get them when Eze and Elise are fit together. Yeah, and they make
Eze's goal
marvelous music
was ridiculous. Did you see his bicycle kick?
Yeah.
Ridiculous goal.
Yeah,
but it's all right. Bruno's no longer going to get a suspension if he gets a booting. So Bruno can just go and take one of them.
Guaranteed he's getting a yellow card. He'll just take one of them.
Just go wipe them out. There you go.
See you later. Bruno's your man. Build up the new total yellow cards for the end of the season. Jobs are good. Yeah, got into him. Bruno's become our enforcer now since Joelinton's, unfortunately.
Yeah. You see Danny Murphy's comments on Bruno saying that he's a brilliant technical footballer and all that, but the reason why he won't be a top midfielder is because he's not athletic enough. He's covered them. He's in the top 4.
He's played the most minutes.
He's in the top 4 in the Premier League for the most covered and ground.
He does
and he's never missed a minute all season. It's Danny Murphy's a
clown.
Spaz, isn't he? He really is. He's just a dour idiot.
He made the transition from sort of recently retired ex-player to like replacement for Mark Lawrence and grumpy old Friday.
Grumpy.
He did it in late 50s. The late 50s he was already
You'd think to listen to him he was playing in the 80s, but he only retired about 10 years ago. It's ridiculous.
No, that's ridiculous. Maybe it was just the bald head. He just kind of went into that old man routine a little bit quick or something like that. I don't know.
Excuse me.
Or he was trying to be Roy Keane.
Nothing wrong with bald heads.
Like that. At least when Roy does it, it's like he's got a twinkle in his eye when he says these stupid things sometimes. But, Danny Murphy actually believes them. Anyway. But yeah, all the English teams bar Aston Villa crashed out of Europe this week, boys. City lost to Real Madrid. Arsenal lost to Bayern Munich. Liverpool got beat off of
Atlanta.
I can't remember. Atlanta, that's right. Leverkusen put out West Ham, and that left just Aston Villa, who made hard work of it, but basically Emi and Martinez managed to shithouse them through into the next round by his just sheer antics. 3 yellow cards in the one game. You'll not say that very often. How many people have that? Would be a pub quiz one day. Hit with
2 yellow
cards.
There was a player who got 3 yellow cards in the game. It was an Australian player.
Did you not get
Australian player in the 2006 World Cup.
I was going to say, World Cup.
Was it an Australian player or was it a Croatian player? But it was Australia versus Croatia, and Graham Poll.
I think it was a Croatian.
Booked a player twice. Forgot. No, it would have been a Croatian because I was living in Australia and all my mates were absolutely fuming about it. Booked a player twice. Forgot that the second one was the second one.
I thought they gave him one at the end as well because they said he's banned for the semi-final.
No, so I think what happened was that he got 2 yellow cards, and those two yellow cards count as 2 yellow cards.
Right.
And you get banned for that, but it doesn't count as being in the same game, which I think it's a shame because could you just imagine the mythical status for being like the only keeper to ever get sent off in the middle of a shootout? Just that is.
I thought he had. I thought he was getting
peak shithousery.
Like, no way.
But
he's lovely little dads at the end.
Imagine just
class.
Martinez gets sent off and just here, John McGinn here, put these gloves on, away you go.
Honestly, Martinez is one of those just keepers that you would have at your team. You'd be like, I'll have him and go. If I'm picking a best 11, I'll have him and goal because
it's not just for the shithousing though, because he is a very good goalkeeper.
He is. He's like the saves that he makes are brilliant. Yeah.
He's so good at penalties as well.
1-on-1s, you know what I mean, as well. When somebody's through and goal and you think it's a guaranteed goal, Martinez will pull off the save sometimes.
The peak drama of winding up the Lille fans and then saving the first penalty and then fucking about all shootout and then saving the last penalty to put them through. He's an artist.
Yeah.
He just wanted to extend their pain as much as possible so they could
hates the French.
At the right time.
So will Onana be suspended for the FA Cup final?
No, he won't, because apparently the FA Cup have different rules. Which were written. What I would say though is, as soon as Onana got booked for time wasting, I'm like, this is fucking going to penalties, and Onana's going to shit out he's going to get booked in the penalty shootout as well, isn't he? Just because we've already had that precedent, so we already all of the rules. So it's definitely going to happen.
It was like, we all saw that. That was fun on Thursday night. Onana, what are you doing?
And Onana has got that in him as well. He's not quite as good at it as Martinez, and he doesn't quite back it up with the commanding box presence that Martinez does. But he's on his way.
So but bad. I mean, with Villa holding the can, everybody else out of Europe, not a good season. First time it's happened.
Minute silence for the coefficient.
10 years.
Yeah, but Man City were unlucky because Man City were battered Real Madrid.
No, they were shit.
Yeah, but that's Champions League. It's quarter-final.
Real Madrid defended.
But Madrid defended very well.
They were pinging it around really nicely, but they didn't really.
You make a mistake and the other team punishes you. That's it. And Man City made mistakes and Real Madrid punished them.
Yeah.
I thought
Arsenal
was harsh.
I didn't really watch any of the Arsenal game, but the impression I got is they just sort of surrendered a little bit. They just didn't do anything.
I didn't see too much.
I watched the City Real.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah.
If
West Ham were unlucky.
Some way I would have switched over, but it wasn't really hard.
Yeah, West Ham.
West Ham were unlucky.
They made a decent fist of it, but Leverkusen rested a few players, and once they brought the starters back on, it was sort of all Leverkusen.
Yeah. But Leverkusen have just made a habit.
That was the way to save his job. Another European adventure would keep him in the job one more season. Whereas because he get beaten and then he get beat at the weekend, all the calls for West Ham fans were Moyes out by next weekend. One of them gone now, don't care. Yeah,
although they've had a good European run and they're decent in the table, their football's not been good when they haven't had Paquetá and Kudus there to provide the flair. But the word is they're going to get rid of him, and they're trying to get Ruben Amorim from Sporting, because apparently Liverpool don't.
I mean, he's a good coach.
That's an interesting one.
We'll see.
He is.
We'll see. We shall see what happens with that one.
Leverkusen have made a habit of scoring late goals, haven't they, this season?
Yeah.
To keep their unbeaten run going.
Yeah, they've done
it against Dortmund at the weekend.
Yeah.
97th minute.
I think you need that sort of thing to you need that sort of thing to keep a 40 game unbeaten run going. You don't,
No.
I don't think you can do it without a bit of that.
We'll move on and do our predictions for next week. So Kel's got we'll bring up the images at the moment. As I'd said, I think I changed mine a few times, I have to say, because it's like a double set of games. So I had Newcastle drawn against Palace, and then I decided that it would annoy me because Man United are probably going to win their next two games. So I would just predict 1 or 2 so that we stay above them. But I'm not sure if I actually will.
I'm not sure that's how it works, Cam. I'm not sure.
No,
I'm not sure you have any control.
Although if it was, I think if it worked like that for Dave, I think Chelsea'd still be.
We'd be relegated. Yeah.
But Dave doesn't.
The thing is, though, I think obviously with Palace having their game at the weekend and we had a rest. And Palace scoring 5 goals. I think they've used the goals up for the rest of the season.
Fair
So
I'm not sure that's how it works either, Mick.
No, it is with Palace though.
it is.
But yeah,
I was generous and I
a
gave
couple
them
of
one.
games that you guys should win. I can't even remember who you're playing, but you've got a couple of difficult games, haven't you?
We've got Arsenal tomorrow, and we've Villa at weekend.
Oof.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
It doesn't matter who we play. Just flip a coin. Oh, we lose today.
Sometimes for you guys, it's better when you play the big teams though than when you play the small teams.
Yeah, I'd say we've played City 3 times this season, and I don't think we deserve to lose any of them. But
no,
you only lost one of them.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, but I think we probably deserve to win all of them. That's probably what I meant. But
any other particular games that you're sort of looking forward to?
Spurs, Arsenal.
Everton versus Liverpool
Derby.
could be interesting.
Well,
it's not interesting nowadays, but it used to be.
Well, but with Everton fighting for their lives and Liverpool
I think
fighting for the title because it's the only trophy they can now win.
I think Liverpool will beat them quite comfortably, though. I just don't see, Spurs Arsenal.
Spurs, Arsenal.
I think there was a couple of people waiting for draws. Does anybody think Spurs will win that one?
I
did not say me little bottle I put next to Spurs.
Was it crashing?
I'm
the old bottle crash, yeah.
And crashing further down the table because that would please me no end. But whether I actually think that will happen or not, I don't know. But that's the way I predicted it. This week I went more with what I want to happen rather than what I think might happen.
So what I would say about my predictions is I don't actually know what I predicted because I didn't predict them. I gave my whiteboard to my wife and she put down some random numbers and we'll see what happens.
Was this a new?
Yeah, she did all of them.
Try and get you.
Was
this a new tactic to try and Sheffield further up the table
and lose into Burnley?
We should have all of our wives make predictions and see what happens.
Yeah,
last game of the season.
Yeah, okay, fine, we'll do that.
All right, okay.
Right. Last game of the season.
We're going to need another whiteboard then.
all of our wives versus Kyle.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Winner takes all.
Yes.
Why not? And talking about we are only now.
Football now.
I mean, double set of games next week, and then we've only got. Some teams only got 4 games left to play. There'll only be 3 games
got
for some
7
left to play
games
after
left.
that. Yeah, you've got quite a few. So.
But a lot of them are difficult. So.
Yeah, we'll get to the end, and then it'll be the end of the season. And what do we do then? Just talk about transfers for the next.
Yeah, the Euros.
The Euros.
Football. We will be tracking football's homeward journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. We'll get to that, and we're not getting into that this week. So, bye. Thanks for watching us this week. Please come back next week. Let us know what you think. Leave your comments. Let us know your own predictions. If you disagree with us, leave your thoughts. But other than that, leave us a like and a subscribe if you can. And we'll be back next week for more inane chatter about the Premier League football. Thanks, guys.